Hey, how are you doing, Cash?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. I'll introduce you to everybody. Man, you have a very diverse background. You were with the U.S. National Security Council, but also obviously recently Chief of Staff to Secretary of Defense under President Donald J. Trump. And first of all, it's a pleasure to have you. Your life has been pretty busy lately, as it looks like.
Yeah, I've been trying to take a time out, but evidently not. It's a fun time. It's easier to just say Chief of Staff for DoD.
I totally get it. I Man, I was just doing part of the show and talking about this January 6th thing amongst many other situations. And with the American public, this is starting to feel like a movie out of a really great graphic novel writer. What was your experience like dealing with this level of corruption when you were in there?
Um, wow. Well, I don't think we have a week to talk about it, so let me break it down to a minute. I mean, look, as the guy who ran the Russiagate investigation for Chairman Nunes and exposed the dossier for what it was in the Nunes memo and told the world that it was the biggest political criminal enterprise ever perpetuated against a presidential election cycle, I thought that was going to be my only round if that wasn't big enough. And then it sort of repeated itself in the national security sector. So it's not that like the 99% of people that serve aren't great. They are. They're awesome. They put the mission first. I was in for 16 years across government agencies as a civilian in DOD and over in the IC and a federal terrorism prosecutor. Everybody just signs up to basically be like, this, you can't do this work anywhere else. So you do it. Where we got corrupted was the leadership, the James Comeys, the Andy McCabe's, the Peter Strzok's of the world, and like the Gina Haspel's and the Rod Rosensteins basically said, I don't exist to serve the mission. The mission exists to serve me. And I think that's where we go categorically wrong. And we prove that over and over again. So what we had to do was fight them. And that's what we did. We fought the top. We didn't fight, the everyday workers, the guys and gals. And it was an unfortunate experience because I thought, well, if it gets to the top, that's where it's supposed to get corrected, not where it's supposed to be directed. And unfortunately, that's what happened.
Now, before you went in, because you've been doing this for a while, you've been in this world, you understood it. Going in, did you guys know that it was this deep? Did you know some of these names at the top were there, or were you just uncovering the layers as you went and realizing this goes deeper than you even thought?
Yeah, I mean, look, if I'd be lying if I sat here and told you when I did Russiagate, when I did the national security work, that I could say predict that it went to the head of the FBI and the head of the IC and the head of the DNI. And then when I was doing national security mission, I was shocked to find that the director of the NSA, the director of the CIA would somehow obstruct a presidential directive. And so it was problematic. But the one thing that I always reminded myself was, and then maybe this is what stood a lot of us in the administration who were executing President Trump's national security priorities was, he said X and we did it. That was it. He's the commander in chief. There's a chain of command. For some reason, these people, such as Chairman Milley and other folks, thought it was appropriate to go outside of the chain of command when it politically suited them and leak media information or information to the media that was sometimes sensitive and classified. And we could have done the same. I could have broken the law and said, hey, here's classified information. Here's the real story. But that would be playing their game and breaking the law, which is something I was never going to do. And so, we relied on the process we instituted under, my entire career as a public defender, a federal prosecutor, or whatnot. You get the facts out in the right way because that's what the American people deserve. You don't cheat them to satisfy a headline for the fake news.
No, 100%. I remember the beginning of the pandemic. It stands out quite clearly was when we were battling everything. And I remember General Milley coming out and he gave this about 2 minute dissertation on we're at war and we will not allow any Americans to be hurt. We will stand against anything that comes in from foreign territory, et cetera, paraphrasing. Do you guys know it then that you're dealing with people on the inside, or was that being uncovered as you went? Because obviously we see it from the Mockingbird media. Like we see this stuff come out. I don't know if you guys see this beforehand or if there's any intuition happening there.
Now, it's a combination of factors. Sometimes we see it beforehand, sometimes we see it during, and then sometimes, unfortunately, we didn't see it at all. And when afterwards it was too late, we saw it. It just depends on who you're talking about. And that's why I think personnel was so important. And we got it wrong in the first couple of years of the Trump administration in so many various spots. And I think that was something that we really had to fight against when you don't have people who agree with the policy of the president. And normally what happens when you don't have people who agree with the policy of the commander in chief is they have the temerity and tact to resign because they're not above the president. No one is. And, you know, talk about subverting democracy. It's funny to hear the left say that the president, quote unquote, tried to hijack an election and whatnot. They spent 4 years trying to hijack the 2016 election by miring him in the false Russiagate scandal or Trump or Ukraine impeachment hoax or whatever else Adam Schiff's circus animals were conjuring up next. And so we just tried to stay focused on the mission. And if the people weren't executing the mission per the chain of command that was lawful, then yeah, I had no problem calling them out.
And now they just call you a conspiracy theorist. I can't believe
Well, right.
I can't believe that they would call you that. Were you, when you were there, because you were under Chris Miller, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when him standing up, I saw a clip of him talking with in front of Vice President Pence and saying we were in the most complex war that we've ever been in. I feel like we're in a war right now. Can you talk to that, or is that not something that we should go down that road?
I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't want to use the term war because if you've ever been in or around one, it's the worst. It doesn't get any more painful and tragic than that. Especially if you have the ability to just put aside the fact that you're fighting your enemy and also ascertain how awful it is for them. And so we were fighting a different sort of battle internally that the media didn't help with. And that's why, you know, since I've left government, haven't been a target of defamation, haven't been a target of the media. You know, we have to start initiatives that we believe in that support our fight against the media. And we have to correct it because, as you said, you know, only a only a small percentage of Americans ever serve. And that's the way it's supposed to be. The rest of America is supposed to go out and do what they want because the minority of us serve. And the media is supposed to report it accurately, but they stopped. They failed to do that from 2015 on through this day. And that's why we have to correct the media, and that's why I started Fight with Kash.